There is a way to speak to money directly, to call it to you by name. And when you do it the way Florence Scovel Shinn taught, money begins to move toward you like it heard you call. And tonight, I am going to show you exactly how to do it. Florence Scovel Shinn taught a strange and powerful law. You can call money by name. So let us begin. The premise is simple. Romans 4:17 describes a God who calleth those things which be not as though they were. Read that again. You call the thing that is not yet, as though it already were. You do not wait for the money to appear and then speak of it. You speak to it first. You call it by name while it is still unseen, and your word goes out and summons it. This is the secret Florence understood. Your word is your wand, and a wand does not beg. A wand commands. When you speak to money as a present, living thing, when you call it directly, instead of talking about how little of it you have, you set the law in motion. Most people speak about money all day long, and everything they say pushes it away. Tonight you learn to call it instead. Here is the sentence. Speak it with me. Softly. I call my money to me now by name. It hears my voice and comes. My word is my wand. Say it again. Let it carry the tone of command, not the tone of lack. I call my money to me now by name. It hears my voice and comes. My word is my wand. Feel that. You are not asking. You are calling. You are not hoping money shows up. You are summoning it as one who has authority. That shift, from asking to calling, is the whole secret. And the moment you feel it, you understand why your old way of speaking kept money away. If those words moved something in you, scroll down right now and write, "It hears my voice and comes." Your comment is your first act of calling, and it joins everyone calling their money tonight. Now let me give you the first piece, which is why money comes when you call it by name. Because the spoken word is creative. Florence taught this above all else. Your word is a wand. What you speak, you summon. Most people think money is deaf, that it is just paper, just numbers, that it sits out there, indifferent to anything you say. But Florence taught the opposite. She taught that your supply is a living, responsive thing, and it responds to the voice of authority. When you call money by name, when you speak to it directly and command it to come, you are using the creative power of the word the way it was meant to be used. The word goes out. It does not return empty. It draws to you the thing you named. This is why she said your word is your wand. A wand is not decoration. A wand is an instrument of command. You point it, you speak, and the thing obeys. And money, as a form of your divine supply, obeys the spoken word of one who calls with conviction. The universe is far more responsive than you have been told. It is listening. It is always listening, and it arranges itself around the words you speak with feeling and authority. When you finally stop speaking of lack and start calling your good by name, the whole field around you begins to shift. And let me show you how literal Florence was about this. She did not mean it as a poetic image. She meant it as a working law. She taught that every word you speak is a force going out into the invisible to arrange your visible world. Words are not idle. They are seeds. They are commands. They are wands. And the moment they leave your mouth, they begin gathering the circumstances that match them. This is why she watched her words so carefully and taught her students to do the same. Because a careless word is a careless command, and the law obeys it just the same. Think of how a name works. When you call a person by their name across a room, they turn, they come. The name has a kind of power to summon the one it belongs to. Florence taught that your supply has that same responsiveness. When you call your money, when you speak to it as something that belongs to you and is meant to come to you, You are using the summoning power of the word, and money, being a form of the one infinite supply, turns toward the voice that calls it with authority and faith. The world has taught you that you are small, and the universe is indifferent. But Florence taught the opposite, that you carry a creative instrument in your own mouth, and that most of human suffering comes from people using that instrument blindly, speaking lack and summoning lack, never realizing the wand was in their hand the whole time. And consider for a moment how much of your life has already been shaped by words you did not know were commands. The things you were told as a child about money, the things you have repeated about yourself. I am just not good with money. Money always slips through my fingers. People like us never get ahead. Every one of those, spoken and re-spoken, has been quietly calling your conditions into being. This is sobering, but it is also the best news you have ever heard, because it means the power was never outside you. It was in your own mouth all along, and the very instrument that built your limits can be turned, starting today, to build your supply. The second piece is why you must stop speaking about money and start speaking to it. And this is the shift almost nobody makes. Listen to how people talk about money. I never have enough. Money is so tight. I cannot afford that. The bills are killing me. Every one of these is speaking about money, in the third person, as a distant thing that happens to you. And every one of them is a command, because your word is your wand whether you aim it well or badly. When you say, I never have enough, you are calling not enough to you by name. You are using the creative power of the word against yourself. Florence taught that the law works in both directions. The same voice that can summon money can banish it, and most people spend all day banishing it without knowing. The shift is to stop speaking about money as a thing that is absent and start speaking to it as a thing that is coming. You change from describing your lack to calling your supply. Instead of money is tight, you say money comes to me now freely. Instead of I cannot afford it, you say my supply is unlimited, and it answers when I call. You stop being a reporter of your conditions and become a commander of them. You turn the wand around. You stop firing it at your own feet, and you aim it at the future you are calling into being. This single shift, from speaking about to speaking to, changes everything, because it changes what your word is summoning. And I want you to really hear how deep this habit runs, because you have been speaking about money in the language of lack your entire life, and so has almost everyone around you. It is the water you swim in, the casual complaints, the jokes about being broke, the constant low hum of not enough, and every bit of it is instruction to the subconscious and command to the law. Florence taught that the words we speak most carelessly are often the ones doing the most damage, because we do not even notice them. We say money does not grow on trees. We say I am terrible with money. We say it must be nice to afford that, and each one is a small spell of limitation. The cure is not to add one grand affirmation on top of the pile of lack talk. The cure is to change the direction of your speech entirely, to catch yourself in the act of speaking about money as absent, and to deliberately turn and speak to it as present. This takes attention at first, because the old way is so automatic. But every time you make the turn, every time you replace a statement of lack with a call to your supply, you weaken the old pattern and strengthen the new. And slowly, the language of calling replaces the language of complaining, until speaking to your money, as present and coming, becomes as natural as complaining about it used to be. That is the shift that changes your financial life, not a single magic phrase, but a complete turning of your everyday speech, from describing lack to calling supply. And here is a simple test you can apply to any sentence before you speak it. Ask yourself, is this describing what I lack, or calling what I want? If it describes lack, do not say it. Turn it around. The bills are piling up becomes my supply rises to meet every need. I cannot afford that becomes the money for what I desire. Comes to me under grace. I am always short becomes I always have enough and more. You are not lying to yourself. You are choosing which future your word will summon. The old sentence summons more lack. The new one summons supply. And since you must speak something, you choose the words that call your good, rather than the words that call your shortage. Now, before I give you the remaining 4 pieces, I have to stop and tell you something directly, because everything I am teaching you about calling money depends on one thing that almost nobody sustains on their own. You have to actually speak these words every single day, and you have to guard the words you speak the rest of the day too. One calling in the morning means little if you spend the next 12 hours speaking lack. The old habit of complaining about money was built over years, and it surrenders only to a new habit of calling money, practiced faithfully until it becomes automatic, and most people simply cannot hold it alone. They call their money for a day or two, they feel the shift, and then they slide back into the old talk of not enough. This is exactly the problem I built the Overflow Covenant to solve. It is a 21-day sequence where one short Florence Shinn money decree lands in your inbox every single morning. You speak it to start your day, you carry it with you, and it retrains the way you speak about money one day at a time for 21 days straight, which is the span it takes for calling your good to become your natural voice. You do not have to remember, you do not have to rely on willpower. The decree is simply there each morning, putting the right words of command in your mouth. It is $27, one payment, no app to install, no platform to log into, just your inbox every morning for 21 mornings, and there is a 30-day full refund, so the risk is entirely mine. The link is in the description. It is called the Overflow Covenant. Begin it tonight, and let the first decree reach you in the morning. Now let me give you the third piece, which is exactly how to call money by name, the precise way to speak so the word carries power. Because there is a right way and a wrong way to do this. First, you speak to your money directly, not about it. You address it as present and listening. You might say, "Money, you come to me now, freely and quickly, under grace." You speak as though money can hear you, because in the world of the spoken word, it can. Second, you call it as already yours, not as something far away. Romans said you call the things that be not as though they were. So you do not say money will come someday, you say money comes to me now. You speak in the present, as though the calling has already worked. Third, you name what you are calling with feeling. The word without feeling is a wand without a hand to hold it. You must speak with the quiet certainty of one who knows the money hears and obeys. You feel the authority in your own voice. Fourth, you keep it simple, and you repeat it. You do not need 100 different phrases. You need one clear call, spoken with conviction, again and again, until it sinks past your doubt and becomes the assumption you live from. This is how you call money by name. You speak to it, you speak in the present, you speak with feeling, and you speak it faithfully. And let me give you a way to make this feel real rather than mechanical, because the most common mistake is to speak the words flatly, like reading a grocery list, with no authority behind them. That does nothing. The words are the wand, but your conviction is the hand that holds it. So before you call your money, take a breath and remember who you are. You are not a beggar at the gate of a stingy universe. You are a child of infinite supply, calling what is rightfully yours. From that place, you speak. Money, you come to me now, freely and quickly, under grace, in perfect ways, And as you say it, you let yourself feel the certainty that it hears and obeys. You can even picture your supply as something alive and responsive, turning toward your voice the moment you call, like iron filings turning toward a magnet. And here is a key Florence emphasized: always leave room for the universe to deliver in its own way. That is what under grace, in perfect ways, means. You call the money, but you do not dictate the exact channel. You do not say it must come from this job or that person. You call it and you let it arrive through whatever opening is best. This keeps your call powerful and unstrained. You command the what, and you release the how. You call your supply by name, and you trust it to come through doors you cannot yet see. And let me give you the actual phrases you can use. So you are not left guessing. You can keep it as simple as, money, you come to me now, freely, quickly, and under grace. Or you can call your supply more fully, my supply is unlimited, and it answers the moment I call. Large sums of money come to me now, under grace, in perfect ways. Or in the moment a need arises, you can call directly to it. The money for this is already mine. I call it to me now, and it comes. Notice that every one of these speaks to the money as present and listening, names it as already yours, and leaves the channel open with under grace, in perfect ways. You do not need all of them. Choose one that feels powerful in your mouth, and make it your call, the one you return to every morning, every day, every night. The consistency of one clear call will always outperform a scattered handful spoken once. The fourth piece is why you must call money as an authority and not as a beggar, and this is the difference between a call that works and one that does not. A beggar speaks from lack, from desperation, from the feeling that he has none and is pleading for scraps. And when you speak to money from that place, you are calling more lack, because the feeling underneath the words is the real message. But an authority speaks from ownership, from the calm certainty that what he calls must come. Florence said your word is your wand, and think about what that means. A wand is held by one who has power. A magician does not beg the wand to work. He commands, and the magic obeys. When you call your money, you must call it as the rightful owner of your supply, not as someone hoping to be given a little. You are not asking the universe for permission. You are calling what is already yours by divine right. There is no competition on the spiritual plane. What belongs to you cannot be withheld when you call it with authority, so you drop the begging tone completely. You stop pleading. You stand in the quiet, knowing that your supply is unlimited, and it answers to your voice. The same words spoken as a beggar do nothing. Spoken as an authority, they move mountains. The words matter, but the tone of command beneath them matters more. And there is something deeper here about your own sense of worth, because the begging tone does not come from the words. It comes from a hidden belief that you do not really deserve the money, that it belongs to others, and you are asking for a handout. Florence taught that this belief is the great blocker, and that the truth is the opposite, that abundance is your divine birthright, that you were meant to have supply flowing through your life as naturally as blood through your veins. When you truly grasp that the money you are calling is already yours by right, the begging falls away on its own. You stop pleading because you understand there is nothing to plead for. You are simply calling home what already belongs to you. Think of the difference between a stranger timidly asking to be let into a house and the owner walking up to their own door and calling for it to open. Same action. Completely different authority. You are the owner, the supply is your house, and when you call as one who belongs. This is why Florence put so much weight on knowing your spiritual identity, because you cannot call money with real authority while secretly believing you are unworthy of it. The tone of command flows naturally only from the knowledge that what you call is already, rightfully, by divine design, yours. The fifth piece is the exact daily protocol for calling your money, the precise rhythm to follow, and the consistency is what gives it power. In the morning, before the day pulls you in, you speak your call first. Money comes to me now, freely and quickly, under grace. You set the tone of the entire day by calling your supply before anything else. Through the day, you guard your speech. Every time you catch yourself about to speak lack, you stop, and you turn the wand around. You replace the complaint with a call. You refuse to speak about money as absent, and you speak to it as coming. At night, as you drift toward sleep, you call your money one final time. You let the last words your mind holds be words of supply, not words of worry. So the calling sinks deep while you sleep. This is the rhythm. Call in the morning, guard and call through the day, call again at night, and you do it every day, not once in a while. The people who get results are the ones who make calling their money a daily practice, not a desperate occasional attempt. The word repeated becomes the wand mastered. And let me say why each part of this rhythm matters. The morning call sets the tone, because the first words you speak to your money color how you hear and speak about it all day. If you call your supply first thing, you walk into the day from a place of expectation, not anxiety. The guarding through the day matters, because the day is full of triggers, the bill that arrives, the price that stings, the moment of comparison, and each trigger tempts you back into lack talk. The discipline is to meet each one, not with a complaint, but with a call, to let every reminder of money become a cue to speak to your supply, rather than about your shortage. And the night call matters because, as Florence and the wise have always known, the words you carry into sleep sink the deepest. So you end the day as you began it, calling your good. And this nightly rhythm of calling money by name is exactly what the overflow covenant is built to make automatic. Because the hardest part is not knowing the rhythm, it is holding it, day after day when life keeps pulling you back to the old talk. The decree arrives each morning to put the call in your mouth, and it becomes the natural words you speak through the day and carry into sleep. So the whole rhythm is guided for you, morning, day, and night, for 21 days, until calling your money by name is simply how you speak. The sixth piece is the contrarian truth that guarding your everyday speech matters more than adding more affirmations. And this surprises almost everyone. People think the answer is to add more affirmations, more techniques, more sessions. But Florence taught that the bigger problem is the careless words you speak all day without thinking. You can call your money beautifully for 5 minutes in the morning, and then spend the rest of the day undoing it with 100 small statements of lack. The offhand, I am so broke. The casual, we can never afford that. The constant money is so tight. Each one is a wand fired in the wrong direction. So the most powerful thing is not adding a longer affirmation routine. It is guarding the words you already speak. It is catching the lack talk before it leaves your mouth and turning it into a call, one clear calling held all day, protected from the constant undertow of complaint, is worth more than the longest affirmation list, spoken once and then forgotten. You do not need more words. You need to mean the ones you speak, and stop contradicting them all day. Guard your speech, and your speech becomes a steady wand always pointed at your good. And I want to challenge you to actually notice this for one full day. Just listen to yourself and to everyone around you, and count how many times money is spoken of as absent, as a problem, as a source of stress. You will be shocked, because this lack talk is so constant and so normalized that it has become invisible, and all of it is the wand fired backward. Florence taught that the disciplined person is not the one with the longest list of affirmations, but the one who has cleaned up the language they speak all day long, who has stopped leaking their power through 1,000 careless words of limitation. Imagine a person who calls their money clearly each morning and then never once contradicts it for the rest of the day, who simply refuses to speak lack into existence. That person is far more powerful than someone who recites affirmations for an hour and then complains about money for the other 15. The discipline is in the consistency, in the guarding, in the steady refusal to fire the wand at your own feet. And the beautiful thing is that this is entirely within your control. You cannot always control what arrives, but you can always control what you speak. And when your speech becomes a steady, unbroken call to your supply, the law has no choice but to begin arranging your world around the words you have so faithfully spoken. And notice, too, that guarding your speech changes the people and conversations you attract. When you stop participating in the constant chorus of money complaints, when you quietly refuse to speak lack, even while others do, you begin to stand in a different current. You are no longer adding your voice to the field of limitation. You are holding a steady call to supply, and that steadiness is felt. It changes the room. It changes what comes toward you. Here is the whole picture. There is a way to call money to you by name, and it works, because your word is your wand. The spoken word is creative. You stop speaking about money as absent and start speaking to it as present and coming. You call it directly, in the present, with feeling, and with the authority of the rightful owner. Not the desperation of a beggar, you call it in the morning. Guard your speech through the day, and call it again at night, and you guard your everyday words so you stop firing the wand against yourself. This is not complicated, but it is a complete reversal of how you have spoken your whole life, and that reversal is the work. You are learning to use the most ordinary thing in the world, your own everyday speech, as the precise creative instrument Florence always said it was. Every part of this is available to you starting today. The words have been given, the method has been explained, and the only thing required is that you actually speak them, and keep speaking them. And let me leave you with one last thought about why this matters so much. The way you speak about money is not a small habit. It is the steady instruction you give to your own life, day after day, year after year. Most people, without ever choosing it, have spent their whole lives quietly commanding their own lack, naming not enough, over and over, until it became the truth they live in. But the same power that built that prison can build your freedom. Every time you turn from speaking lack to calling supply, you are taking back the wand. You are reclaiming the creative power that was always yours. And if you hold that new way of speaking long enough, the walls of lack you spoke into being will come down just as surely as they went up. The spoken word built your present, and the spoken word, rightly used, will build your future. So guard it, aim it, and use it on purpose. Call your good, and never again speak against yourself. Before we close, I have to be direct with you one final time. The reason most people never call their money successfully is not that they lack the words. It is that they cannot hold the new way of speaking on their own. They forget. They slide back into the old talk of lack. The new voice never takes hold. This is the entire reason the overflow covenant exists. To put a fresh Florence Shinn money decree in your inbox every single morning for 21 days. So the right words of command are always in your mouth. So the new voice actually takes hold. So the calling becomes natural. You can find it at the link in the description. 21 mornings. One decree each day. $27. 30-day full refund. So speak the call with me one final time before you go. I call my money to me now by name. It hears my voice and comes. My word is my wand. Hold that. And from this moment on, Stop speaking about your money as absent and begin calling it by name, as present, as listening, as already on its way to you,